Hey, welcome to the Black Millennial Mom Podcast, Season 2. Each episode can get a tad bit spicy, so if you got some little ones around, this is a really good time for you to slide on those headphones and enjoy the episode of the Black Millennial Mom Podcast. When you think about parenting, you gotta take it in because it's a lot of work just in itself. But a lot of folks in our world today are dealing with struggles, temptations, and lifestyles that can be challenging every single day. You might have caught one of my earlier episodes where I've had firefighters, nurses, but we have Colorado law enforcement in today to kind of talk about the journey, what it looks like being a parent. I'd like to introduce my guests. Sean is on my far left there, and also Marrisa, here today to talk about parenting from their standpoint and what it looks like. Now, first, we have to talk about the kids. How many do we have?
Absolutely.
And what does that look like?
Absolutely. So I have 3, all girls.
All girls.
11, 9, and 3. Mm-hmm. So there's a handful there.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
I have 2 stepchildren.
Yes.
So one 16-year-old and the other one's 19.
Okay, so a little bit older.
Yes.
When we talk about being Colorado law enforcement, with you, Sean, you've had some time in it and from the beginnings and through it. What was that like as far as starting with your children and getting in?
So it's hard. So you have their input and what they view it. You know, you have to have that conversation of what does that look like? What does police, what do you know about them? Like, how do you feel about them, right? You have all the things that have happened in the world. And so if you're not talking to your kids about it, I would have never known how they felt about it. So actually now, it's great, but then it was just, they didn't know. So the education part was there, starting off, just to educate them on what policing is and what that looks like for us and how it affects them or how it increases our chances of just operating in life. And so we kind of had that conversation first.
Now, did you do that before you went into the academy? Because it starts with going in to the academy, right?
I waited.
Oh, okay, there's that.
Listen, the process is so long. It was just like, let me not interfere with our daily lives before I actually know that this is something we're actually pursuing and actually have the opportunity of doing. So it was like, let me wait. Wait till I get that offer letter. Let's wait until that first day. And then after the first day, I said, we might need to wait longer.
With the kids, right?
I don't know if I'm gonna, we're gonna pray about it. But so it took me a while, but that conversation came pretty easily.
Now, with you having the stepchildren, introducing the fact that what you do now, they might have heard in the past, okay, hey, mom is talking to somebody or what that looks like. But with your situation, how was it like coming in and, them knowing what you do?
It was uncomfortable for me because, they already have their life and how they structured it without me for a very long time, right? So the things that they were accustomed to doing, I would have to explain that it could affect my job, right?
Right.
I have an example of, it's gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
So the 16-year-old, I tell her about stealing and these calls I go to and everything like that, so she understands. Well, a couple weeks ago, but she told me that I could tell the story. So a couple weeks ago,
thank God for that, right? You gotta get permission.
You have to get permission, right? Right. Don't embarrass them on TV or anything like that. But she got caught stealing at Target.
Okay.
But she had money, so I don't know why she did it. So she calls and she's like, yeah, can you come pick me up? I get to Target and I knock on the door, but I go in my cop uniform, like I'm fully suited and booted. I hear like, oh, there's my mom. She's like really happy.
Yes, I'm saved. Yes, did it again.
They open the door. I'm in full uniform. I'm like, turn around. She's like, Mom. I'm like, turn around.
You didn't put her in cuffs.
I put the cuffs on her. I had to put the cuffs on her.
Oh my gosh, the embarrassment level.
Because we're both going to be embarrassed at this point.
Right. Now you're taking it there, right?
Now you're coming with me,
Just lessons.
So,
in this.
lessons in that, just things like that. I feel like go a lot further than yelling or, punishment or taking your phone, but if you actually see it when it's there, I feel like it has more of an effect on them. So that dynamic, just bringing it all in, it's been a challenge, but it's also been a learning experience for us both, or all of us. So.
Now, when we talk about kids and law enforcement, do you feel like overall, we're talking about all the kids in this now, have a different, I guess, sentiment in regards to law enforcement, being that you guys are their parents? Or do you feel like it's still growing, they're still learning, there's still challenges just in that question by itself?
So I think where we are now, they have the reverence for who I am, right, as their mom. But I need to also, I think I'm learning the balance of remembering that they need to have the reverence and honor and respect for law enforcement outside of me, right? Because I'm with you daily.
Yeah.
And when I'm speaking to you, it's like, oh, not just your mom, but you're also law enforcement, right? But I think I'm finding the balance between just getting them to understand that we just don't reference at home, that we reference here too, because I don't want you to become lackadaisical when you see law enforcement or you're like, mom's a cop or mom's police, and then it's like, no, we reverence it all the way around. We honor it all the way around. And so I think we're working on it.
They're still growing.
Yeah, they're little. So it's kind of like, well, this is our norm.
Yeah.
This is what we know. So it's like when you see officers or you see anybody else in law enforcement or EMS or anybody, understand that we still reference this. Like these are serious moments. Because if you see it all day, every day, you're like, mom's gonna handle it. No. These people also, you need to make sure that we're referencing that uniform. Or
what do you think? Do you think it's grown with your stepchildren?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's new to all of us. We're
Right.
all in here like, I don't know what to do. You know,
This
it's not
is
like,
new.
right? It's not like they've grown up with an officer or a cop in their life as a mom. You know? And then especially with the climate of policing, with the politics and everything else included, I didn't think they knew what to expect.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, you know, is she going to be like this cop or is she? And I'm just normal. I'm human,
You're
right?
a normal person.
That's it. You know?
That's such a valid point, what you just said. Human, normal person. I remember just recently I had a situation where I had to involve cops, and there were two officers that came to my rescue, and one of the officers came in a little bit later. And she was on the phone. I could hear her outside of my place. She's talking, and you could tell it was that parenting voice. And when she finally came in, she apologized. She was like, I'm sorry, I was just dealing with my kid. But that was the moment where I actually realized, oh, law enforcement can be normal people just like me.
Oh, yeah.
They got kids.
Oh, yes.
But we set this standard so high for you guys, as far as in like, you guys are just some solo people of superheroes that are supposed to be saving the world 24/7. You can't have anything going on in your
I am
personal
not
life.
Superwoman.
In any way, shape, or form?
No, thank you. I don't take that title. I'm not.
Right.
Oh,
At
God,
all.
no.
Yeah.
When it comes to having kids and the things that you guys see, I want to talk about the things that you guys see, because it's really important. You know, firefighters see a lot of crazy things, nurses see a lot of crazy things, but what you guys see is on a different level, in my opinion. And with that being said, the effects of your everyday life, it could be as little as saving a cat from a tree to, you know, seeing a homeless child on the street and how to place that child somewhere. Those levels are two totally different things. How do you go about doing that kind of job and then going home to your actual children? Does any of it ever affect you? Can you honestly sit here and tell me it's never affected you as parents?
It definitely affects
I'm
me.
like, that's a lie.
Yeah, it definitely affects me.
You said it
Right.
didn't affect you.
Right.
I go home, like there's been moments where I go home and I'm like, I don't want work to like bleed into my home life. Like I don't want to go home and have to deal with the same thing I deal with at work, you know? So I think finding that balance and you know, and just and having that conversation, because communication is very important. You know, hey, listen, this is what happened to me today. This is what I don't want to deal with. I would like if you could just kind of leave me alone for a second.
Give me
Right.
a break, that space.
Give me a minute, right?
Always needs space.
And understand that when I leave and I go out into the world and I do whatever superhero job I do, I come home and I want you guys to be okay.
Right.
You know, if nothing else, I want everybody to be okay here at home. You
Yeah.
know, I don't want to police at home.
Is it the same for you, Sean?
No, I have 3 little ones. I'm always policing. That's not.
Right, it's always a thought process,
So,
right?
I agree. I'm big on, it affects me, right? Like I'm new at this. Like you said, you're emotional. You kind of deal. I literally, you have to learn how to will that in. And so I'm learning now how not to let it bleed on my family, because you see stuff, like you said, unimaginable stuff. And so some things that I've seen, I'm like, ooh, a lot of prayer, a lot of alone time. And then, of course, using those resources that help you, because it's not easy.
Right.
That's that superhuman mindset where you're like, oh, I got this, I'm just go home. It's not possible to just deal with it. So
Right.
just learning that balance, honestly.
And then for your partners, you know, let's just be clear. Law enforcement, there's people who praise, and then there's people who don't have the greatest sentiments about what you guys do for a living. And with that being said, for your partners, it's often kind of put in the back burner because you guys are in the forefront. Your faces are seen every time, and that can leave an unimaginable feeling to your partners. And dealing with the children and the long hours, How is that managing that relationship? Do you have to take long vacations to like Bali to like pay it back or something? No shame, Marrisa. No shame, Marrisa.
Vacations is not cheap.
I'm just saying. Like, what do you do to balance? What happens? What does it look like in real life? I'm just saying.
Vacations.
Vacations to Bali. Marrisa know where I'm going with that. Just saying.
I'll let Sean go first.
I have a very biased opinion. No, vacations, yes.
Okay. Whole lot of gifts.
So no, you know what? Honestly, I'm learning.
Yes.
You just love that person in their love language because gifts might not be it, but it's time and communication. That's honestly that's what I've learned lately. It's like I can buy them everything. I can give you everything. But that presence matters because we're so, we're in the streets a long amount of times. And we're gone and over time and everything else we do, time and communication. That's it. That's the best gift I can give you, right? Being present. So, yeah.
That's powerful. And then, Bali trips is your love
kind
language
of
or?
get there. Just go somewhere else, the other side of the country or the world. So I can say that I have a very, very supportive wife. Very supportive kids, especially if something's like happened at, some hard stuff I didn't see that day.
Right.
Whatever. My wife is usually like, she announces it to everybody. And so when I
the whole
home,
household?
the whole household. And so when I get home, it's like, hey, Mom, are you all right? And that means a lot to me.
That's so deep and so loving.
It is.
And
right?
I don't know if I could ever do that. Like, let me come in and, hey, everyone, just so you know, she saw a code 4-5 and she
At least
cannot
you
do
get
this.
an announcement. I got like cups, cup, me, juice together.
That's an amazing way to do it.
So a lot of communication goes into that, you know, so they know they're kind of like, oh yeah, you're all right, because we all want to support one another in the household, no matter what.
Right.
Trips to Bali definitely need to happen because you see a lot in this world and sometimes you just need to get away, other than you going to sleep at night and having a dream. It's more like go live your dream, outside of, of what you do. So. Right.
Now, we talked about the kids, especially with yours, a step which I know, in regards to the use of law enforcement to her advantage. You've got younger ones, the 11, the 9, and the 3-year-old. As they get older, are you even getting signs of that with your kids? Like, okay, we understand what mom does, and this could really work for us. Like, this could really be a thing in our presence that's a powerful thing that can help us. Or are they seeing it more so the good and the bad? Which more are they seeing in their household?
The benefit of it. Especially the 11-year-olds. Like, are you coming to my school? Because this girl is bothering me.
Bullying is real.
No, yeah.
Handle this.
No, seriously. She's like, are you come in your uniform? Like, can you come in your uniform, Mom? Like, that kind of stuff. But it's, no, the younger ones, they don't care. It doesn't really matter to them. But she's going into middle school. And so it's like, oh, yeah.
It's funny because with my 3-year-old, like, he'll ask every day, like, oh, Mom, I don't want to go to daycare. I want to come to work with you. No, can I come to work? Can I come DJ with you? I'm like, no, you're not doing it. So it's, even with the little ones, they can pick up what's happening and what you do on a daily. I don't know if he says it to Dad often, like, hey, can I sit at the house and be on the computer? Right. But I definitely know he would love to come to radio station every day if he could.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Are you having what's the good and the bad with that? Are you seeing with the kids?
Good part is stepdaughter, she's like, going through it with her friends. She's like, hey, if so-and-so shows up over here, will you trespass them?
So it's more, they know the good. They love the good.
They love it, right?
Right.
19-year-old stepson, he's more, he's an introvert.
He is.
And he's very smart. We have great, deep conversations about, politics, law enforcement, and try to share with him as a young Black man, you know, this is how you want to be seen. It's not about what you do, it's about how you do it and how people perceive it, right? So, it on both ends. It's
it's the good and the bad.
The good and the bad, right?
When we think about a lot of people trying to join law enforcement in today's world, now the numbers have changed. You won't always see a 19-year-old or a 21-year-old trying to get in. You'll see people at our age groups wanting to get in, seeing the lifestyle, being able to provide for their families. There's some things that they should know, and especially coming from folks who have kids. And I think this is a great opportunity to share any kind of light on, to give people who need to provide for their families, but also need to understand what you guys do for a living and how it can affect them. What quick tips should they know?
Oof.
I know, it's a little deep.
Quick tips. There's no quick tips. I would just say really evaluate your life and if it's, worth it. Just trying to figure out, is the money worth it? Is the time putting in? The sacrifices, there's so many sacrifices we put into not being at home or just even going through the academy. Is it at this time in your life, like if you're stable, and is it worth uprooting your entire family? I'm not saying don't do it. What I'm saying is make sure everybody's on the same page and walking on one accord to understand that this is going to take a lot of time and sacrifice.
Also think about, like, this is a very dangerous job. It's very dangerous. You're putting your life on the line every day, right? I mean, we all do. As soon as we walk out of the door, we don't know what's going to happen, but there's a very, 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 like, high risk of being a police officer. And you have to take that into consideration because you have to go home every night. So before you put yourself in a uniform, I need to get myself and my partner home tonight. It's not just about me anymore. You know what I mean? I'm here for the safety of the public, right? And this is what my job is. So I would say think about that first and foremost, because it's not. It's fun most times, but
I'm sure.
You get in those situations like, whoo, that was a close one.
Right, could have been that for me.
Woo, right?
Almost didn't make that one.
Right. Thank God we did that.
No, yeah, seriously.
So, there's a saying, be good, not lucky, right? And so you have to, realize that going out there, making these tough decisions, making these tough calls, it's tough.
And that's those decisions that don't just affect you. You have to be real selfless in policing. So it's.
Oh, yeah.
Sean, you mentioned something earlier in regards to like the marriage percentage and how many people last. I want you to break down that statistic because I was going to bring it up, but you said it before I even had to bring it up, which is really strong.
Yeah.
And especially for people who are married and or just engaged. What you're getting ready to go through just in the academy alone is life-changing.
Absolutely.
And it can affect your family, it can affect your kids, it can affect your grandparents, everyone else down the line. People can possibly come for you. This is a different kind. This is not a firefighter job. This is a job where people will be scouting for you for the rest of your life.
So, I just know it was a conversation between me and my peers that, like, how's your life going? How's your situation going? I'm like, pray for me, seriously.
Right.
I know in the academy, it's just they put you under a lot of stress on purpose. You have to learn how to operate under stress. The testing, all the stuff that you have to do, it's demanding. And you don't have time. Like, you're spending countless hours studying, you're spending countless hours working out. Like, it's unfair for your, for your whole life to shift and you expect everybody to understand. So I seen a lot, even with my own relationship, it was just rocky. Just rocky. So many, even my friendships, and I'm not just talking, relationship and intimacy. I'm saying my friendships, like everything was so hard. And it was just like, there was no balance, there was no time. So you see it shift and they say you barely make it. I've seen a lot of relationships fail in that aspect of like you coming out of the academy or in the academy, and then it makes it even harder in the academy. So,
and I can't imagine having kids at that point. Now your marriage is failing and you have to separate and do a job that, you could be here today, gone
tomorrow. And all of this is for the betterment of the family, right? Like, you're like, better finances, better life, better benefits. You're like, I'm doing this for us. And it's like, it doesn't feel that way.
It's not happening the way we said it was going to happen.
No, it's not working. No,
right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and do you feel the same, Marrisa, with that? Like,
yeah, I mean, there's challenges I could see where they could come in at, especially those overnight shifts.
Yeah.
The worst.
Yeah.
Because it seems like you never get to bounce back. It's like, you come home on the weekends when you have your days off, you're too tired to stay awake.
Right.
You're like, I'm going back to sleep. You don't get up until about 5 or 6 o'clock at night. You're up all night. You don't have anybody to talk to. All you have is, right?
And that's a fact, right? And then you're running to a parent-teacher conference by the morning.
like, short story, our kids were at Jump Street or whatever it was, and I was asleep on one of the couches.
No, you didn't do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if their time ran out, their little bracelet, they're just jumping and flipping, and I'm like
that's the mental stability, though, of what you guys do. Like, I would feel horrible. Let me fall asleep at Jump Street, and he's like flying across the room, and I just feel like I couldn't manage all of that. So again, when I talk about having a mental stability to do what you guys do, there's levels to this. And the jobs that you guys are seeing right now are not the easiest to be able to handle it. But these are two women who are doing it and doing it quite well. I want to thank our guests today, Sean and Marrisa, for representing Colorado law enforcement. Honey, I wish shout out the district, but I'm going to keep it on the low. So mad love to y'all, and thank you guys so much. I appreciate y'all.
This podcast has been made possible by Colorado Connected and the Women's Foundation of Colorado.
Hey, thanks for watching and listening to the Black Millennial Mom Podcast, Season 2. If you are anything like me, you like to stay up to date on what's going on and seeing what's happening around me, find me on your favorite social media site, Instagram, Facebook, even Threads. Look for @YourGirlCedes. Wait.